Hi everybody, very nice to see you all again. For those that don't know me, my name is Noel Garcia and I am an astrologer. I focus on humanistic astrology, which is the astrology that aims to bring the best of us out from us. So basically it's about being our true selves. It's the astrology that helps us become our true selves and break out from all the conditioning that may be from our family, from our culture, from our upbringing, from our education. The purpose of astrology, as I see it, is to help us become our true selves. That's why I'm here. So today I want to talk about Saturn in Pisces, and I'm going to say a few words about what it means on the natal chart, for those that know where your Saturn and Pisces are at the moment. And I'm also going to talk about what it means on a general level for society. So starting with that, with society, what can we expect from Saturn in Pisces? Well, first of all, we should know that Saturn entered Pisces at the beginning of March, actually it was the 7th of March 2023, and will be there until the 25th of May 2025. So that's a bit more than 2 years, and that's generally what the time that generally Saturn spends in any one sign. So when Saturn enters Pisces, what do we expect? Well, Saturn represents structures, governments, hierarchies, institutions, anything that is built in stone or is a solid structure, whether on a physical level or on other levels. So it represents also power, it represents authority. Whereas Pisces is a very different sign. It's a sign that is very fluid. It's a water sign. It's a sign where everything dissolves. It's the last sign of the zodiac. It's a sign where we become one with the universe, with everybody else. It's where we lose our sense of ego and our sense of individuality. It's the time where there is no boundaries between ourselves and others, and because it's the last sign, and that's where we need to go back to the whole how to put it, like the whole universe, the whole ocean, anything where there is no limits, where there is no boundaries, you know, the sea of consciousness where we all come from. That's all Piscean. Also, any place where we are also isolated is Piscean, because where we are very isolated is where we can become one with the divine. That's why monasteries and places of that nature are very Piscean. So what's going to happen in the next couple of years? Well, the masses, which are also very Piscean, because you know it's a body where everything gets dissolved, so there is no individuality within the masses. It's really large groups of people, can certainly overwhelm governments, which are represented by Saturn. And how that? Well, any masses, any groups of people that may have been sort of abused by Saturn will or could rise up. For example, we are starting to see that law cases against governments for imposing COVID restrictions and COVID vaccines on people are starting to take shape, and they are winning court cases. In South Africa, there's been something like that. We've seen as well the German government and the Minister of Health admitting that vaccines cause more damage than was said in the past. We are also seeing today the WHO came out saying that actually teenagers and children shouldn't get the vaccine anymore after reviewing further data. Basically, we are seeing that all those rules, regulations that were put on before by governments are starting to really crumble, are starting to fall, because they don't stand a chance when basically masses of people rise up against them. And right now, the same way Saturn was very strong over the last 4 or 5 years, so during the whole pandemic, and rules were followed, and there was very little possibility to really say something against those. Right now, we're seeing that governments are becoming weaker. So there will be a possibility for the people to really have an influence on governments. We are seeing that also people are rising in France, and we're going to see what comes out of that. But you know, there are masses of people rising in different places. Also, so that's one big thing, yeah. Governments becoming weaker, COVID reckoning, mass movements of people. The other thing that is likely to be very important in the next couple of years with Saturn in Pisces is basically the materialization of psychedelics. Psychedelics and all psychedelic substances are very Piscean, because they take us to a dream world, they take us to a parallel reality, they take us to a place where we can be one with the universe, or we can feel one with humanity, where there are no boundaries, there's where time and space doesn't exist, right? So all that world is actually going to be materialized, and there's going to be rules and regulations established for that world and for the use of psychedelics. We're already seeing it in Australia with the legalization of psilocybin for therapeutic use. We are seeing that psilocybin is being reclassified in many states in the US, including Oregon, Colorado, and others. Also in Canada, there are lots of legislation being pushed through to legalize psilocybin for therapeutic purposes, and even for recreational, for people to have more freedom to use it as they please. So there is a huge movement of making these substances that were legal in the 60s and the 50s again legal and useful, because basically people are realizing what we already knew and what basically has been known all along for thousands of years by traditional peoples in the Amazon, for example, with ayahuasca, or in Mexico with the mushrooms, or by other indigenous peoples around the world, that these are healing substances, and they have healing powers that we can use. So finally, the West is catching up with these people in this area. So we're going to have probably lots of legalization and new also molecules being developed that will be able to solve many of the mental issues, mental problems, and other problems. Even like there's research on psychedelics for stroke, for depression, for anxiety, for binge eating, for substance use disorder, for PTSD, for all those things and others, even cancer. Is being researched as we speak. So get ready for a new era when it comes to medicine and using these substances. There's going to be also, I think, many people trying out more and more of these substances through shamans as well, People are going to travel where it's legal, and it's going to be an unstoppable wave, basically. And we need to move away from that mentality, oh, these are bad things, they can hurt you too. Actually, these are very, very useful things, and they are pretty much, I mean, when used properly, they shouldn't harm. They're actually much less harmful than other drugs which are legal, like alcohol or tobacco or whatever. So that's Saturn in Pisces as well. We're going to see the dream world of Pisces being materialized in this reality through Saturn. Pisces also represents the seas and the oceans, so you can expect new rules and regulations in that area as well. I heard as well, I think recently, that the UN approved new marine reserves to protect life in the oceans. So that's another way that this is being materialized. At the end of the day, Pisces is ideals. And so ideals are going to be materialized. So be careful what ideals are in the minds of people, because this can be, yes, it can be manipulated, and we could have leaders with no ethics putting very dangerous ideals into the minds of people. So we need to be aware of that, make sure that any ideals that we're fighting for are worthwhile ideals, and ideals that bring humanity a step closer to awareness, consciousness, and freedom for each of us to pursue our lives. What more can I say? Yes, new belief systems. Yeah, Pisces represents belief systems, which represents religions, and there could be new belief systems coming up. And with the rise up of psychedelics, we're seeing, for example, in the UK, the shamanism is the fastest growing belief system, believe it or not. So people are really connecting to a new wave of shamanism, where there's a new personal, direct relationship with the spiritual world, like there was before organized religions took over humanity and took over power in many ways. Okay, so we're going to see that as well. New religions or new belief systems spreading. Basically, this is a time for vulnerability, for healing, and for emotional healing. This also is a time where new products can conquer the masses very quickly. Remember Windows 95 in the 90s? How that was an absolute boom of a product. How internet as well was born in the around 95, 96 and really spread all over. That was during Saturn in Pisces. That was the last time that Saturn was in Pisces. So you can expect things to really conquer the world very quickly. And we are seeing it with ChatGPT, for example, how quickly adoption of ChatGPT has been. It's been the fastest rising product in terms of adoption, much faster than Facebook or any other social media platform. So knowledge and information is spreading super fast right now, and new products are going to be taken up very quickly. We could have also extreme weather events with Saturn in Pisces, because especially coming from the ocean, there could be even tsunamis could happen. And the last thing I want to say is that you should watch where you have Pisces in your chart, because that's the house through which Saturn is right now going. And that means that in that house, those things that that house represents are basically the house where you're going to be becoming one with others, where your things are not yours, they become other people's. This is a house where you're going to sacrifice part of yourself for the good of many other people. Okay, so that's the that's what's going to happen with Pisces in a certain chart, in a certain house in your chart. And now with Saturn going through there, Saturn is basically going to say, are you being responsible about the matters of this house? Are you working on this? Are you doing things properly, responsible? Are you working what you need to work in this house? Okay, so if those things of this house, you're using it for your own benefit only, and you're not using it for other people's benefit, then that's going to not work well, and Saturn may not be very happy and could create some tension in the matters of that house. So it's going to be 2 years to put in order the matters of the house where you have Pisces. And it's going to be about making sure that those things in that house are working for the benefit of the collective. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you about Saturn in Pisces. I hope you enjoyed these next 2 years, and I'll be back soon with further videos. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.